Does the word finance scare you? Does the word budgeting scare you even more? Gurus online will show you spreadsheets upon spreadsheets with all this math and calculations that just look disgusting. They use big words that just make you feel dumb, and because of that, you end up giving up. And you don't even bother to learn about finances because it's so complicated. Trust me, I know, I've been there. Better yet, why do people make finance and budgeting seem so complicated? It doesn't have to be that way. I don't like math either, but here we are. So let's make things easy to get you onto the right path and in control of your finances. And this is something you can literally start doing as soon as you're done watching this video. I promise you're not gonna have to use 50 different spreadsheets to do this either. You're probably wondering, why should I even bother budgeting my life? It's because budgeting makes you financially aware and stable. Budgeting can help you feel like you have control over your money. It allows you to prioritize your spending, track how you're doing, and realize when you need to make changes. A budget puts a solid plan into place and helps you plan for the future. So how do you do this? An easy and effective method is to follow the 50-30-20 rule, especially if you're just starting off with all of this. The 50-30-20 rule helps to lay down the budgeting framework. It breaks down your budget into 3 buckets. 50% of your after-tax income should be allocated to your needs. By needs, we mean things you literally cannot live without, such as food, housing, electricity, transportation, and the minimum requirement for you to pay off debt, such as monthly mortgage or car payments. 30% of your income should go towards your wants. This includes things like going out to eat, traveling, gifts, activities, hobbies, entertainment. This is like the fun stuff in life that keeps you sane. It's stuff you want, but things that you can certainly live without. And there tends to be a lot of gray area between the 50% of your needs and the 30% of your wants. So really think about, is this something I can live without? And if the answer is yes, then it belongs in the wants category and not in the needs category. You can live without the K-dramas on Netflix, maybe. And 20% of your income should go towards your financial goals. This means putting some money aside for an emergency fund and also working towards paying off any debt outside the required minimum for things like your credit cards, car payments, and your mortgage, which are allocating towards your needs in that 50%. This is just if you happen to have any extra cash left over, you can work towards paying off that debt quicker. But in order for us to not get penalized, we want to make sure that we're paying off that minimum required payment on our debt as part of the needs category. Now, as a rule of thumb, you should have enough money in your emergency fund to be able to live off of it and pay all of your expenses for at least 6 to 12 months. I know this may sound like a lot of money, but if you ever lose your job, at least you will have peace of mind knowing that you can live off of your savings for a little bit. So just keep that in mind and work towards saving this amount. And I'll go over how you can calculate this amount later on in this video. Now that we have an overview of what the 50-30-20 rule is, let's go through the exercise you can do. No, not that type of exercise. To start implementing this after you watch this video. The first step you need to take is to calculate how much your after-tax monthly income is. So this is your net pay, how much you're actually taking home on a monthly basis. After taxes, after contributing to a 401k plan, after contributing to your HSA fund, all of that. Now split that amount into those 3 category percentages that we talked about. So the 50%, the 30%, and the 20%. Let's say your monthly take home is $5,000 a month. That means that 50% of $5,000 is going to be allocated to your needs. So that's $2,500. 30% of $5,000 is $1,500, and that's going to be allocated to your wants, or the 30%. And the 20% of $5,000 is $1,000, and that's going to go into your debt and savings. These numbers should give you guidance on how you should be allocating your money monthly. The second step you need to take is to go through and identify all of your expenses. Take out a pen and paper, or you can use an Excel spreadsheet if you really want to. Whatever's easier for you, whatever you're more comfortable with. No pressure, because this is meant to be easy. And I want you to list out 4 columns. Column 1 is going to be what the expense is. Column 2 is going to be the amount. Column 3 is going to be the frequency. So this is daily, monthly, or annual. And the 4th column should be the category that this expense should be allocated to. So that's that 50, 30, or 20. Is it a need, a want, or should it be allocated to savings and debt? This may take some time because you probably need to do some digging to get a whole picture of all of your expenses. So it's not going to be fun, but it's something you need to do. It's kind of like that kitchen drawer you have that has all this junk shoved into it and it just looks disgusting every time you open it. But you know that the only way to really get it pretty and organized is to take everything out, figure out what you still need, what you don't need, and then place things back properly and in an organized way. So to make this easier, start off by tackling the big things first. Start off with things that belong in that 50% or the needs category. How much do you pay for housing? This could be your monthly mortgage or rent. How much do you pay for cars, insurance, groceries, utilities, transportation? For things that aren't a fixed price, such as groceries and utilities, take the average of the last 3 months. So if your utility bill in December was $100, $150 in January, and $125 in February, use $125 as your number. You may not know everything off the top of your head, and that's completely fine. A good way to find out all your expenses could be going through your emails, looking at invoices, looking at receipts, and going through your credit card bill to see where your money's going. Now do the same thing for that 30% category, the wants. And again, go through your credit card bill and go through your receipts to figure out what your expenses are here. And lastly, again, take a look at what you're spending to pay off extra debt and what you're saving every month, so we can categorize that into the 20% bucket and write down all of this stuff as well. How much extra money are you paying towards your student loans to pay that off quicker? Or how much extra money are you able to contribute towards your mortgage to pay down your mortgage quicker? How much money are you putting into a savings account? How much money are you investing, if anything? Get this all down on paper. Now, step 3 is to evaluate all of your expenses within each category of the 50, 30, 20 buckets and make sure that everything is categorized correctly. Especially make sure things are categorized appropriately in the needs versus wants section because, again, things get a little muddy here. Step 4 is to add up the total for each bucket. Calculate what your total expenses are for the 50% bucket, the 30%, and the 20%. This way, we know how much money we're spending on our needs, our wants, and towards paying off debt and investing or saving. Let's go through a quick example here. Let's say we're going through the 50% bucket here, our needs. Okay, so rent is $1,750 a month. Our groceries amount to about $300 a month. Utilities are $200, and car payment is $250 a month. This comes out to a total of $2,500. Now this aligns with the amount of money we have budgeted towards our needs because we're still working with that $5,000 a month income. Remember that 50% of $5,000 a month is $2,500, so that works. Now let's mix it up a bit and say that my rent is $2,100 a month and my utilities are averaging $350. Now your total is coming out to about $3,000. Now this may be fine because it all really depends on how much wiggle room you have and how strict you want to stick to your budget. Now there are a couple of flaws to the rule that you should be aware of. The first flaw happens when you're making a crap load of money. I know, no big deal, too much money because keeping these proportions of 50, 30, 20 might be unnecessary for you. If you're making $200,000, let's say, after taxes, do you really need to be spending $100,000 a year in your 50% needs bucket? This would probably be detrimental for your spending habits if you did. The second flaw is that this framework isn't going to work for you if you live in a super high cost location such as New York City or San Francisco, because rent alone is going to probably put you above the amount you budgeted for in the needs section. And then you're just going to be stressed out that you can't stick to your budget. But let me tell you something beautiful. The beauty of personal finance is that it's personal. Although the 50, 30, 20 rule may be good for a lot of people, it may not apply to your life, so you need to tweak it so it works for you. Maybe if you want to pay off extra debt, you can go with the 60, 10, 30 approach, and that's fine. 50, 30, 20 is again just a framework that you can build around. Okay, now that you have a full inventory of what your monthly expenses are and what category they fall into, you might as well do some cleaning up. Take a look and see if there's any subscriptions that you can get rid of, or really just anything that you don't really think you need or use anymore, and cancel it. Maybe you realize that you're spending way much more money on going out and eating out than you originally thought you did. So re-budget for that or figure out a way how you can compensate for it and make more money to account for it. I'm sure there were things that you found in there that you didn't even realize you were paying for. So just take a look at that, reevaluate it, and see if it's actually something you still need or not. I do want to stress that paying off your debt and saving up money for an emergency fund should be top priority. So make sure you are putting money towards these monthly, even if it's a very, very small amount. The last couple of years have taught us that nothing is guaranteed and that you can lose your job in an instant. So at least if this does happen, you will be at peace knowing that you have an emergency fund and have some money to live off of for the next few months. Again, this can mean that you're putting money aside into a savings account on a monthly basis, or that you are doing something else with your money, such as actually making it grow by investing. And that's something I go more into this video right here. So I'll catch you in the next video.